everyone, it's Penny Black and Jill Foster here with another PB&J card class video. And today's video is all about what are some fantastic finishing touches you can add to your handmade cards, especially springtime and floral cards, so that you can do some really simple stamping and really simple coloring, but when you're done, have a wow card that looks finished and a card that you are proud of and excited about creating. So here's just a peek at a few of the cards that you'll be seeing today. And again, this is video 6 out of 10 of my Start Stamping video series. And the goal of this is to share my personal creative process as a professional designer to help you start enjoying your hobby with less decision fatigue, start collecting products that you'll use and love, and start using your stash. So here's a look at a few more cards that we'll be creating. And for this video, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. We've had 5 videos where you've seen me doing lots of stamping, lots of painting, and so today's video is going to be still sharing the creative process, the order that I do things, hoping that that process will inspire you as much as the projects and the products, but focusing on just those little tiny touches, those finishing touches that can really help you create some cards that you're excited about. So as always, and with my creative process that I've been sharing, I like to start by selecting and gathering limited supplies. So I've got a photo box here, and I've decided I want to focus on some of these new spring stamps that are from Penny Black's Cherished collection. So if you are looking for some really lovely spring stamps that can make a statement on a card all on their own, the illustrations on these are such high quality. That's what makes them classic, and I think that's what makes them able to look so beautiful on a simple card. But I'm pulling these to work with some of my favorites. Now, the reason these are in envelopes is because I get them as a prototype stamp, so I just store them in an envelope. If I had the retailer packaging, I would just keep them right in the regular packaging that they come in. But just giving you a look at these, and I'll have all of these listed and linked for you down in the YouTube description box below. So I'm picking out like 5 or 6 stamps that I just really love and I know I want to use. So you could do this with some new products. You might love these and want to order these, or you might want to go through your stash and just pick out some of your favorite large. I like to use a large image for this, floral stamps or whatever you're working on, whatever theme that you like. But for me, the large size is really dynamic on the cards. Then I'm going to grab just some of my favorite sentiments. So that is one of the things that I find with more simple cards, having a beautiful sentiment can really elevate the whole look of the card. So I'm just grabbing some favorites and putting them into my box. Then these are some of the dies that I find most useful for those finishing touches. So I love to have some really great borders that I can add that are more on the stitch, look like stitches, or more on the geometric side. I really like mixing geometrics with florals. And then some sort of background stamps. So I'm grabbing a few of those from my stash. So those dies and these background stamps, I'm going into my stash using what I have and putting those into my box. I also like to add little like white on white embellishments. So I'm going into my stash and pulling out some butterfly dies and putting those into my box. So you can see here I'm mixing some of the new with some of my old, some of the things from my stash. And then I also am going to have some papers that I've trimmed down to a standard A2 size card, and I'll put those in my box too so they're ready to go. Now, of the things that are in my box that need die cutting are mostly just those butterflies, and then I did add, I think, a few little floral dies, tiny little florals. So I'm going to die cut those, put them back in the box. Then off camera, I stamped all of my floral images using black ink onto actually just a Nina Solar White cardstock. And then I painted them using Sakura Koi Field Sketchbox watercolors with very little water because I didn't even use a watercolor paper. And then I assembled the cards. And this is where I'm going to show you some of those finishing touches that I think elevate a very simple card. The first is to add small butterflies and flowers. You don't even need to color them. You can if you want. So like here, I've added them with a very light yellow. But you can just do white, like tone on tone. I think that's also very, very elegant. So small butterflies and then some small flowers. So if you already have those die cut from your die cutting session, as you're finished, you can add those on. I use some foam squares for a little extra dimension. The next step, another great finishing touch, is to use a border die. So I often will stamp my large floral images like they're extending off the edge of the card on one side, leaving room to add a border die. And these stitching dies or geometrics are so great for this. And just that one little subtle detail adds a lot. Also, like I said before, a great finishing touch is to mix flowers with geometrics. So that geometric border die, here's another one that I did end up pulling from my stash. So remember, if you gather your supplies and you remember later, oh, I should use that die, you can always go back and get it. Here's the one I showed at the beginning. Again, that really nice geometric along the side is so great. And I just trimmed down my stamped and painted panel to add that. Another very simple technique that adds sort of a vintage look is to add a torn edge and a little bit of a script stamping. So here I've just torn what I had stamped and painted and added a very light gray script stamping in the background. Same thing here, same look. Super simple stamping with those large floral images on the front. You could also do it without the torn edge, and instead I used a die cut edge, and then I just did a little bit of light inking and stamping along that edge. Like I mentioned before, use high quality sentiments. I love penny black sentiments because the mix of fonts and even the words, like what they're saying, are really beautiful. And once you stamp those and you use them on a card, you'll really see, like, oh man, you see what it looks like before you put that sentiment on and after you put it on. And it does really elevate the look of the card. And it's such a simple way to do it. It's just one impression. The other thing you can do is try combining your die cut sentiments with a little sentiment strip. That's something I like to do if I don't have room for much of a large sentiment. Like here I've done hello just for you, or just a little sentiment strip that is white heat embossed can add a lot. Now this is something, if you look at my cards, you see me do this a lot, but embellished with self-adhesive pearls. Just those tiny little pearls add a ton to your cards. You can put them on top of those borders that you die cut. You can put them on the little flowers. You can put them on your butterflies that you've added, or right onto your stamped image. Like here I've put it around those butterflies. I always have those like sitting, well, they're actually in a drawer right next to my desk so I can grab them easily. I hope you enjoyed this little bit different video that just focused on some finishing touches you can add to your handmade cards, especially those springtime cards. If you're getting out the floral stamps or you need some spring in your craft room, just some ideas for finishing those off so you've got some cards you're really excited about in the end that aren't complicated. If you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also click that bell so that you're notified of all of our uploads, because this is a series. We will have video 7 coming very soon. So be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And you can also connect with Penny Black on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, as well as our website and blog. And I've got all of that listed for you and linked down in the YouTube description box below. Happy stamping!